everyone and welcome to Dueling with Downton, and today we're going to be taking a look at the final episode of Season 1 of the YuGiOh Sevens anime series. Episode 52, in my opinion, was a brilliant episode, as it made me personally feel excited when this duel was in progress, as this threat of uninstallation of rush dueling format loomed over the duel itself. The back and forth between Yuga and Rook was some of the best dueling action we've seen within YuGiOh Sevens so far. Now I do want to start off with the talking point of the uninstallation process of rush duels, as we learned that this was a process that's been going on throughout the entire tournament itself. With every duel being played, the process of uninstalling rush duels grew closer and closer to its final point, thus leading up to the match between Yuga and Rook, where of course at the end of the duel, rush duels was no more. Well, for about a couple of seconds. Now this episode does give me more confidence in saying that Otis did all of this as a means to help Yuga with future threats to come. I do not think Otis is fully evil at this point, but I still think he has more to unveil, as this process of uninstalling rush duels only helps to serve and show Yuga that rush duels and the data that created it wasn't safe/secure enough. And this is only backed up with a line stated by Neil at the end that rush duels have been reinstalled better and more secure. So something like this could never happen to it again. Maybe Otis knew about this new threat that we see at the end of the episode, but we will talk about that group a little bit later on at the end of the video, as we do get a Season 2 promotional poster already, giving us a better look at their designs, and I do believe that spoiler territory for people who don't want to be spoiled. We'll talk about that later on in the video. As for the duel, I really did enjoy it overall, and the outcome of Rook winning was a surprise to me, but personally, having Yuga lose does not harm his character in my personal opinion. I really don't care as to whether or not a character wins and loses a lot of the time, as their personality and the actions they display is what gets me interested and invested within the character, and Yuga has been very thought-provoking throughout this entire series of Sevens so far. So my interest in Yuga is still very high, and I do still like the character a lot despite him losing. The only criticism I do have is I would like to see more of Yuga's thought process in having him explain or show how he manages to get 3 or 4 steps ahead of the people he's outsmarting and outwitting, instead of simply just having the answer all the time and people going, oh, it's Yuga, he probably has something up his sleeve. But explain how he has something up his sleeve. Let's look into Yuga's mind and see what's actually there. Now let me ask you this question. If we were to have seen Rook lose this duel, and right after losing, he rolls around screaming and throwing a tantrum on the floor because he's frustrated and upset that he lost, would you enjoy that? Honestly, that would make me dislike his character more, because we already know Rook's quite immature and childish, and that would just kind of digress his character even more because he's been acting very seriously up to this point. But seeing Yuga do this just adds to Yuga's charm, as it's out of character and shows just how passionate he was about the duel overall. He tried everything he could to win, but in the end came up a little bit short. Yuga lost the battle, but in the end he won the war, which was keeping rush duels alive and well. Now, I would have liked to have seen Rook fall and lose this duel and grow/develop from this loss, but likely we're going to still see that happen in the future, as now he is king of duels. He's going to be more overconfident, more annoying and kind of in your face about it, cocky, overconfident, arrogant, all of those character traits he's going to display, because he knows that he's the best duelist in all of Goha, because he's the king of duels. But this just makes his first loss when it comes, potentially to this new evil group when it happens, or when they're introduced, that much more enjoyable. because this would force him into developing his character as he struggles to regain that serious dueling drive and style that he's been presenting all of this time. Obviously, when a character is overconfident and is cocky and is high on himself, their dueling seems to slip a little bit because they feel like they're untouchable, because they know they're the best. So this could be a really good call to reality for Rook when he finally gets that first loss. I do not think he's going to go throughout the entire series without losing. I don't think he's going to do a playmaker or a Yusei. I really don't see that happening. But at the same time, I'm just eagerly waiting that development from him. So if you're one of those people going, oh, I didn't like it because I wanted Rook to lose and then he could develop further and, you know, get his groove and become more serious, he's still probably going to do that. So just wait a little bit. Be a bit patient. Now that sequence in where Rook took down a maximum on his own felt big. And it was the first time any character has ever managed to achieve that. But the way Rook actually went about this and accomplished this was, in my opinion, really cool. As he used his new ace monster, Meta Gears, and for trap card, Steel Strike. Now this combination reminds me of Utopia and Double or Nothing from the Zexal anime. And I really do like that combination, and that, although it wasn't completely the same, there was still kind of hints of that, and it made me call back to that time when we saw Yuma use Utopia and Double or Nothing. I thought it was cool. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Rook's character overall, but I do have to say Rook has some of the best designed looking cards. Those Dragon Ace monsters that he used in this episode looked amazing. Having all three of them on the field at once felt more epic than seeing a new random maximum than, you know, what they could have given him. And you know what? That combination of dragons he had on the field gave him a total of 5 attacks. And had all of the effects gone off without any issues, I believe that would have actually given him 6 continuous attacks out of the 3 monsters. That would have been insane. It was almost like he was playing Aqua Force from the Cardfight Vanguard card game. Anyone else know that game? Let me know if you do in the comments down below. And one thing that did actually surprise me on the topic of Rook still was the fact that Rook actually gave more words of gratitude to Roman and Gakuto after the match. He still thanked them in stating that it's thanks to them that he was able to win this match and get on this grand stage. But I do wonder if Rook's going to still be singing the same tune later on. Or will that statement change to him saying, ha ha ha, I won, I'm the best, ha 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 ha. You know, like he currently does. His ego gets a bit too inflated sometimes. I can see it happening. And lastly about the duel, seeing the legacy cards appear. Pot of Greed and Graceful Charity. That was an awesome throwback. So again, I love it when they drop these spell and trap cards and monsters into the anime and just kind of call back to the first season to duel monsters. Always good. Plus, we didn't actually get the line of, what does Pot of Greed do? Would have liked that. Even if it was just from Gakuto or something. I thought that would have been cool had we got that line, but oh well. All of the side characters involved I thought offered a little bit of something to the episode and helped made it just that little bit more enjoyable. So I did appreciate that. Neil acting like a bit of a tsundere towards Yuga, saying, don't give me orders. When we know, come on, we know that Neil likes Yuga, as in friendship wise, but doesn't want to kind of, you know, be put in the friendship category. Oh well, Neil. Roman and Gakuto were just so wholesome throughout this episode, and Mimi added a bit of comedy. The drone didn't really add anything or do anything except say, oh, maybe it was the same guy that sent in the notebook. Not that insightful. But the Machine Cavalry Club tried to help, which was nice and goofy, and I just really do like this Machine Cavalry group. I think they're adorable, but just like in a really weird, goofy, comedic way. Just seeing Galleon like driving that excavator, but how does he reach the pedals? Because he's tiny. I don't get it. Has he got blocks in there? I need to see inside of it. Overall, I thought this episode was a great way to end off Season 1, as the duel was great in showcasing how competitive and back and forth and fun rush duels can be. So from a promotional standpoint, it was awesome. From an episode standpoint, again, brilliant. The music and sound effects were on point throughout the episode as well, and that really does help add more excitement and more hype to certain scenes and sections. The animation was a bit hit and miss in some of the places, but at the same time, when it really mattered and tried to hit home, they knocked it out of the park. I will admit, I will miss the opening and ending, Na 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 and them singing the ending again. But you know what? I'm excited to see what was going to happen in the new opening and the new ending. What visuals we're going to see, what music we're going to hear. It should all be awesome. Now, if you don't want to see the promotional poster for Season 2, then I do have to say thank you very much for watching, and I do hope you've enjoyed this review. Hit like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts down below. I want to hear what you have to say about this Season 1 finale episode. And of course, have a great day. Now, I'll count to 3, and then we'll look at the promotional image. 1, 2, and 3. So then, this was the new promotional poster that was shown that depicts our 4 main protagonists and the new possible villains for the next season. I've seen a lot of people say online that this gives off the 7 Barian vibes, but for me personally, I'm thinking more of 5Ds in Iliaster and Zone. I think the designs kind of go more along those sort of lines. I think that the designs do look really cool and intriguing, and they're very different from what we've seen from 7 so far. So maybe we might get a bit more of a serious kind of tone to the show. That shadowy figure within the middle of the poster, I actually think may be an ace monster that this group is going to revolve around. Maybe it's a new mechanic, maybe it's kind of like a fusion of like 2 monsters, and that is what we're going to see. Personally, I wouldn't like it to be one of the older mechanics. I want it to be something new and fresh. Maybe rush combinations or something. They could call it something goofy like that. Get around it. But at the same time, I do think it's going to be a monster that the main antagonists all use and build a deck around. Not necessarily have the same deck altogether, but an ace monster that's consistent with our antagonists slash villains. As for an early prediction, this character with the red hair, I think will side with our heroes by the end of the season, as this character's eyes look saddened. Just something to think about, because he's looking kind of distant, kind of sad, so maybe Yuga can kind of help him and, or her, I should say, shouldn't, assume, and kind of, win over one of the antagonists, bring them on to the side of good. However, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this poster in the comment section down below, and of course anything else that's happened within this episode. I do want to hear your thoughts. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this review. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Have a great day, alligator, matane, goodbye.